Hi everyone, I'm here in Bayeux in Normandy, France, and I've spent a few days in Paris recently and then decided to come here. So it's been in the back of my mind to do something like this for at least a year. I've spoken to my granddad about it, and my whole family and friends, to kind of work out what the best thing would be to do. But we've kind of listened for quite a few years to a few different stories and kind of put some information together about where my granddad was during the Second World War. He fought during the Second World War, and he was in, I think, the third wave of soldiers who went up onto the beaches of Normandy, and his rendezvous point was Bayeux. So this was the first kind of step in the journey. I do intend to go to Normandy beaches, and on further than this. So Cannes, I think, is the next place. Kind of, I came through it when I was like coming here from Paris on the train, and that was where a very big battle was fought by my granddad and I think hundreds of thousands of other men who were fighting at the time. There are cemeteries all over. There's one here in Bayeux that I'm going to visit. And it's just to get an idea. A lot of people do this actually. I know a lot of American tourists who've spoken to me about this, and they kind of come over and they go to the sites that their relatives fought at, and if they have anyone who is kind of buried around here in Europe. So it's quite a big part of travel for some people, and also quite a different trip than the other trips that I take. I take all of those trips for kind of pleasure purposes and to explore places, find out a bit more about like the cultures, eat the food, that kind of thing. But this is a totally different trip for me, really. It's a lot about kind of working out what's happened in our family's history and all of the things that my granddad went through, the kind of things that people in the UK, huge numbers of families, were fighting, were conscripted, and they all came over here and came to the same places, to Bayeux and the Normandy beaches, and fought in different battles as well. And I think it's really important to kind of retrace those steps. So that was something that I wanted to do this year, and that's why I'm here in Bayeux. And hopefully I'm going to get to go and see the memorial and the cemetery while I'm here, as well as doing a few local things like the Bayeux Tapestry, and also see the cathedral and things like that. Things that my granddad didn't get to see. He was stationed in a field, apparently, which makes sense because it was all kind of military and during the time of war. But this was definitely the kind of one of the beginning points of his journey over here, and he was away from his family for 7 years during the war and stationed in different places. So it was, I think, 5 years during wartime, and then after they declared peace, they declared the war was over. He then went on to places to do like rebuilding kind of projects that they had. That part after it, where they were like really rebuilding a lot of places in Europe that had been heavily bombed. So I will try to get to all of these different places. I should have probably started in Normandy beaches or somewhere in Europe, sorry, somewhere in the UK, where he had been trained, or I think he was in Richmond at one point, and then went on to various other places, and then kind of down south to get the big ship over. But instead I've started in Bayer, so I might put this together in a way that makes sense for his journey, but I'm just kind of doing it in a way that I can while I'm here. So knowing that I was in Paris and that I had an extra day, I decided to come out here to Bayer and do this little bit now. I think Caen and the Normandy beaches would take a little bit longer. I think you can do day trips, but I'd like to sort of take my time and really learn quite a lot about that. But this is the first stop on the journey for me, and quite interesting, I think, to kind of start this and start thinking about it. And while my granddad's still here, so he's 96 years old at the moment, we probably don't have a huge amount of time with him, but while he's here it would be good to ask him questions and really start to understand some of those things, and hopefully learn a lot about the history from a personal perspective, and any kind of lessons learned through it, and kind of just bring it back to people's attention a little bit. I'm hopeful that I can do some of that through the trips that I'm doing and through the blog that I have, which does reach a lot of people now, and my social media reaches a lot of people, so hopefully it can have a positive impact as well, in quite changing times that we're in at the moment, just to kind of remind us what people fought so hard for, and the kind of peace that we want to last now. So that's just my introduction to why I'm here and what I'm going to be doing. So I hope you can follow along on the journey, and I hope that you enjoy some of the things that I'm doing. Thank you.